Welcome to Season 10, Episode 8 of the Ubuntu podcast. In this episode, we're going to discuss what's going on at System76. We'll also bring you a brand new segment and go over your feedback. I'm Emma, and joining me this week are Martin.
Hello.
Alan.
Hello, hello.
And Mark.
Hello.
What have you been up to lately, Martin?
Well, I was interviewed on a new podcast stroke videocast called Destination Linux.
Oh,
yeah.
moonlighting.
I got to do a 1 hour, 40-minute monologue about Ubuntu Nut.
Give the man a microphone and he won't shut up.
I was in my element, man. It was fantastic.
Wow.
So,
did you see them waving at you like, no, stop?
Yeah, they did look quite fatigued at the end of it.
Right.
No, so this was with Rob and Rocco, each of whom have their own YouTube channels, and they talk about various Linuxy stuff, and they've got together and started a podcast called Destination Linux, and they've had the likes of Ike Doherty on there. I didn't quite eclipse Ike's 2-hour epic. I was really trying, but I could only muster 1 hour, 40 minutes. And they've had Joe Ressington on and other people that you
Ike talking for 2 hours is like a normal person talking for 4 hours because he talks so fast.
Yeah. Covered a lot of ground in that one. So, we'll have a link to Destination Linux YouTube channel, but you can find their audio feeds there as well. Definitely a podcast that's worth adding to your podcatcher if you like long-form interviews with people that work on stuff. And I've also been fossil hunting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Find anything good?
My favourite finds were some fossilised shark teeth.
What? How?
How what?
How did you find these?
By sifting through silty clay deposits along the Jurassic coast very carefully and looking for them. So my mother-in-law has been down there looking for fossilised shark teeth forever, and we were lucky enough to find 2 on this recent visit. So she's now got the shark teeth she was after.
Are they like planted there for tourists? So
no, this is genuine proper fossil discovery.
Wow.
That's what they want you to think.
No, it really is. It's a stretch of coastline in the south of England. It's about 90 odd miles long, and it is famous for having exactly the right sort of deposits that trapped all of these animals and what have you. And it's ripe with fossils. Most of them very small shells and what have you. But you do get to find shark's teeth, and if you're really lucky, some of the bigger shellfish from the era. So we have got some large sea snail shells that are about 30 million years old that we've found.
Wow.
That's cool. How about you, Alan? What have you been blogging about?
Yes, we mentioned last week that I blogged a bit about trying out GNOME on my desktop, but the real reason is I've been testing out a different blogging platform, which I think we've talked about in the past, maybe last year, called Nicola, because my host where I held my WordPress blog got hacked. It got compromised over Christmas, and Bitfolk, who are our glorious sponsor, who also provide my personal VPS, which I paid for, it got compromised, and I got a message from Andy at Bitfolk on Boxing Day, so just over the Christmas holiday, telling me your box has been compromised and he's disconnected the network. And within a few hours, I was able to get it all back up and running with a brand new clean machine, because I got backup, so I didn't really care about anything that was on there. I just wiped it and started again, and instead of using WordPress, I decided to use Nicola, which is a static site generator. So I do all
Nicola is brilliant.
It is. I
loves it.
I do all the maintaining the pages on my local machine, and then just do a Nicola deploy, and it just pushes it all up to the remote host. It's really cool. And so I wrote a blog post about why I use Nicola now. I thought, might as well.
I think that's at the first or second blog, everyone that switches to Nicola writes.
Yes, I like to fit the formula.
Yeah.
Right. Should we get on with it then?
Let's do that.
So last time we had Emma on, last season, we didn't really talk a huge amount about what Emma does. So we thought we'd get you back on to help present the show, but also as an excuse to get you on to talk about System 76 and what's going on there, what you're doing there, and the future. And
although, unlike your last time on the show, Emma, you're not going to be constrained by the 1,000 most common words in the English language. We're going to let you have access to all the words.
Okay.
well, there are some words we don't use, but you know what they are. So tell us, on a day-to-day basis, what is your job at System 76?
So I do sales, customer service, and technical support. So pretty much anything that's customer facing, I'll have my face on.
So, what's the kind of? Obviously you can't reveal too much like internal, information. But what kind of profile are we talking about? Like single individual end users, enterprises, like big installations, or what's the kind of typical profile of user that you speak to?
Yeah, mostly end users and new users. So I switch a lot of people. That's one of my main tasks during the day is try to get the people to switch from their Mac or their Windows machine. So
is this people that are phoning up speculatively that might be considering a switch to Ubuntu, and you try and help convert them over?
Yes. So it's people that just can't deal with Windows anymore, or they're not happy with where Mac is going. So
that's interesting itself. So what complaints do you hear from people about Windows, and what are they not satisfied with regarding Mac OS?
A lot of the Windows users will say they needed to update too much, or they were getting viruses, or that they had to take their computer in for repairs constantly. With the Macs, they don't like the direction of the products. It's not really OS based on why they want to switch, but it's more about the form factor and the devices that they use.
Oh, right. So people who are coming to you, are they people who they've heard about Linux or Ubuntu and then they find that you're a company who does it, so they talk to you? Or do they find System 76 is a company that sells computers, I'll talk to them and find out what alternatives there are?
No, they hear about us. Well, they hear about the operating system, and then when they search for Linux or Ubuntu online, they generally find us.
You've got good search engine optimization.
Yeah, and we have a lot of good evangelists, I guess.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of the older customers will say it's their son or someone recommended it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. A lot of word of mouth kind of thing.
Yeah.
Great.
And is that mostly? I mean, you're obviously a US based organisation. Is this almost exclusively US customers, or do you have sales outside of North America?
We have a lot of I think we ship to more than 80 countries now.
Wow.
So I do deal with a lot of international customers. But I don't only deal with customers. I deal with like the community. So we do parties every 6 months for the Ubuntu release. I think a lot of you guys should be familiar with the release parties. I think everybody that has a local group does them.
Yeah, they've not been It's one of those things that you need someone to be on it to organize it, because there's a lot of people who will just not organize one, and like they expect everyone else to do it. But if there's someone like you who's motivated to do it, do you have the party at your office or hire a venue, or how do you normally run them?
Yeah, we're having them at our office because we're in a larger location. We used to do them at restaurants and just rent out a room. But our office is big enough to have the amount of people that show up, and we just get catering and set up different stations for people to do activities. This year we're having, or not this year, but this release party, we're doing drone races, and we'll have the augmented reality sandbox, which is really popular with the kids. And then we do trivia, which is really popular with the adults. And we give out prizes and do laptop demos as well.
Wow. That's like...
How many people do you have come to these things?
Our last one had a little more than 60. I don't have the exact number, but...
And how many of those are like people off the street as opposed to people at the company?
Bash them over the head and drag them into your office.
There were about 40 non-employee or employee family members.
How do they find out about this? Do they know people, or do they know that you run these events and this is the place to go when it's release day?
Well, I tell it to people that I meet, like on public transit, because I'm pretty social. And then I send it out to mailing lists, and I post it on the Colorado Loco Team Wiki. And then I have another, one of our team members for the Ubuntu Loco team posted on some meetup sites as well. And then I personally reach out to customers in Colorado and invite them personally.
So these kinds of sort of grassroots community events are something that System76 does a lot of, because you also have these Superfan events as well, don't you?
Yes, that is the most fun you'll ever have in a year.
What is the System76 Superfan event?
Well, we do a contest. This was our second time doing it. So we'll have people submit entries of what they're doing with open source or Ubuntu or on a System76 machine. And we'll pick the top 10 of those entries on how it impacts the world and how big of a fan they are. And then fly those people out to Colorado to our corporate office. And then...
Awesome.
We'll have one day, which is a whole event where just kind of like the release party, but more extravagant, where you have stations set up. And then this time was a theme. They had Lake of the Legends theme. So it was all around like LARP and really medieval, and everyone dressed up, and we had a lot of different geeky things set up for everybody.
So what sort of stuff was contributed but in the competition?
So there was one that was a video game, not a video game, but a game for it was a Snap game called Robots. There were some videos that were made. We also had press that were there, so people that have covered us in the past we bring out. And then we have at the end we have a round table. So the biggest thing that we get out of their contribution is their entry is excellent, but at the end, the round table where we show them prototypes of what we're working on and get their feedback about what they want in a computer and what they want to see from us as a company. When they contribute that's invaluable to us.
So one of the things that I've heard from other people who have looked at System76, one of the complaints I've heard is that System76 take machines from China, slap Ubuntu on it, and then, sell them. And that's...
How dare they?
Well...
Yeah, that's like, it hurts.
Yeah, like
hurts when
every
they
other
say
computer
that.
company.
Right, so why does it hurt? What's so wrong about someone saying that?
Because we have a staff of engineers that would be really upset about that. I mean, they put so much blood, sweat, and tears into making sure everything works. And if it doesn't, they don't just fix it on the machine. If they can submit it upstream to help everybody, they do it. Like Jeremy, he's one of our engineers right now, and he fixed the Ubiquity installer issue, which was bugging us in support for at least a year, but no, we didn't know who would fix it. We said something to him, and he fixed it literally within one day and submitted it upstream. So I thought that was incredible, and it helped everyone in the community too. So,
and more recently, you've been doing interesting different hardware designs. I heard interesting things coming out of the most recent Superfan event where you had people not able to take their phones or cameras into a room because you were showing off stuff.
Yeah, that was
what was that about?
Our Superfan roundtable. They got to see the gala go first before everybody else and give their feedback, which is our most recent laptop release. And they got to see where we're going with desktop manufacturing. So we're doing desktop manufacturing from the ground up, completely from scratch with our own chassis and our own designs. So showed a couple of those prototypes and just let them know where we're going as a company. We just didn't want to have it recorded, but They took it away.
Are you able to share with us in our mind's eye what might be coming in terms of the designs at System 76?
Very innovative, functional, unique desktops.
So one of the problems with desktops, I speak to our friend Stuart Langridge now and then. Whenever he's talking about buying a new desktop PC, he always wants something beautiful, and PCs are often not that. They're very often, like desktop PCs, they're very often like a beige box or a black box. Maybe if you're lucky, there'll be a glass panel on the side and you can see the inner workings. Are we going to see a departure from, a rectangle on your desk with like ports on the front of it? Something radically different from that?
Yes, I believe so.
Are we skirting into the
there were
area
lots
where...
of oohs and ahs. So it's pretty.
Is it pink?
No,
yeah, it's the
unfortunately.
version. Yeah.
This is until you've had it at home for a while.
On one of the prototypes, they put the pink thumb screws on there just for me, but, but we didn't have any more of those, so that was just one.
Okay, so you're obviously keen to share more, but you clearly can't on the designs. But maybe you can tell us about the recent system refreshes in the System 76 lineup.
Yeah, we have our Gazelle and our Kudu laptop came back with a refresh. Completely new designs. They're our mainstream laptops. They offer the quad-core CPU options, so a little more powerful than our smaller guys. The Galago and the Lemur are our smaller ones with dual-core processor options, and they're highly portable. The Galago is our brand new 13-inch laptop with the high DPI 3200 by 1800 pixel display.
Whoa.
And it's less than an inch thick. It's 0.56 inches, I guess, to be exact. And
wow.
Just a little over 2.5 pounds.
Hang on, I need to get my granddad's ruler to figure that out.
And are these like the ones with the high DPI display? Are these things that have monster video cards? I know you've got one that's it's like a desktop PC squished into a laptop case. Which one's that?
The Serval and the Bonobo.
Bonobo, that's the one.
Yeah, the video is actually Intel HD 620, so it's integrated on the CPU. But if you want to get an idea of the performance, there's a really great video online. I can't remember the user, but if you just search the Intel HD 620 graphics while gaming, it is incredible, the performance that you can get off of this little graphics card.
Huh.
So if you were choosing your own System 76 laptop, which one would you choose and why?
Money, no object.
Okay, so the Kudu has been my baby for the last couple years, even with our more portable and smaller laptops coming out. But I've been using the Galago. I'm using it right now. I've been using it for a week as my primary machine, and it's so amazing. I mean, the feel is so slick. I like that I took it to the pool to do a little work. I took it to a friend's house. I feel like I can take it everywhere with me, and I can answer. I'm more productive, basically.
Do you get to try out like all of them all the time, or are you just like my friends who work in garages, like come home in a different car every other day? Is that like you? Do you just like swap out like one laptop for another all the time, or do you stick with one and then desire something else and then eventually you get it?
I usually stick with one. Like my Kudu has been my baby, so I wasn't even interested in any of the other models, even though some of them have a little bit higher performance, and this one's like 4 years old. But now I can try whichever ones I want, but taking it home, I have to take turns. But but I'm really sad that I'm going to have to give the Galago back.
What would you say in supporting users of Ubuntu is the favorite question that you've ever got?
Oh, that is a tough one.
I know you said last time you often get the question about, switching to another distro or switching to another desktop, and you said that's a like insanely popular question.
Yeah.
Have you got any that like weird or interesting questions that people ask you about System 76? Like, do people ever phone you up and ask you to ship with like OS 10 or Windows or something like that?
Well, that's It's not a weird question to me anymore because it's so common. A lot of people have to dual boot. So we do get that question every single day. But I think the funniest ones is, can you draw something on the box? And so I know that that's like a funny internet thing, but it gets me every time. I don't know why.
So what, in the order, they just ask you to draw a specific thing on the box or random thing or what?
Yeah, when you write when you place your order, there's a write customer service message, and it's the first thing I see when I open up the order from processing. So I'm just like, I don't even care about the computer. I just want to know what they want us to draw, and then and then we have we don't actually draw it. Sometimes our designer has time to do it. But we'll draw it on a piece of paper and tape it to the box.
Wow. That's awesome.
Right.
It's always funny. I don't know who started that, but...
Is that on every order?
No.
No.
It's just the funniest question that we get.
Right.
But I don't have very many bizarre support scenarios. I don't think...
You've heard them all before, have you?
Yeah. It's all the same.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to tell us about what's going on at System76.
Yeah.
And, for anyone
where should people go if they want to find out more about System76?
System76.com/contact will get you right in touch with any of us, any of our representatives.
And anyone wanting to know where to find you, where can they find you?
Twitter/social happiness.
Super. Thank you very much, Emma.
Uh-huh.
Are you looking after your bits? If you are, help your fellow listeners keep their bits safe too. If there's a VPN or privacy service that you've found useful, email your virtual private love to show@ubuntupodcast.org.
What's so funny?
What?
And now it's time for some virtual private love.
What is this?
This is a new segment that we're doing where in this age of governments wanting to spy on you and track everything you're doing and sell your data to companies, you might want to keep some of what you're doing or all of what you're doing private. So we are going to be telling you some tools which we know about or we use ourselves, which help you keep your internet activity to yourself. So this week, our virtual private love is private internet access. And this is a VPN provider, which is at privateinternetaccess.com. And they provide a VPN which basically takes you from your computer to their server without your ISP being able to see what you're doing or anyone in between. It's basically an encrypted tunnel between you and a server in one of probably about a dozen countries you can choose all over the world, which also means that you can unblock. If you're geo-blocked from some content, you can say, well, I'm actually in that country, and then it might let you in. It's a commercial product, so you pay a monthly or annual fee to use it, but it's cross-platform, so you can use it on all the desktop OSs and Android and iOS, and it's got good support for Ubuntu with good setup instructions. You can use it through Network Manager with OpenVPN, and they give you a bunch of config files to use for that, or you can use their app, which gives you some extra features. An interesting thing about... Oh, sorry, Alan?
No, I was just wondered, like, you say you pay a monthly fee or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that, like, limited certain amount of throughput or limited regions? No. Or how do they... Is it just, like, you pay a certain amount and...
You pay it and... Exactly. So the different regions, depending on how many servers they've got in each region, depends on how much speed you get. So with all VPNs, it's usually slower than using your raw connection because obviously it's got to encrypt.
Yeah,
and go.
Not if you're on Virgin Media in the UK. using a VPN can often be faster than using the native connection. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically depending on the region you use and how much and how popular it is at the time, that basically determines your throughput. I believe if you use their normal app, then if you're using a particular region and it's slow, there's like a link there to complain at them.
Right. If I was a connoisseur of VPN solutions, is there a way for me to try this out for free before I commit to giving them some money?
There might be. I can't remember.
Okay.
but
And
it's worth
you-
having a look.
You mentioned regions. Can you dynamically switch which region of the world your connection appears to come from?
You can basically in the app you can just say, go to the US, go to the Netherlands, go to wherever else. If you're using it through Network Manager, you have to load in the different configurations separately and sign into them separately. So it's not quite as easy, but it's doable. Yeah.
This is super cheap as well. If you do the annual, you pay annually. It's $3.33 a month. It works out.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's pretty good value,
$40
isn't it?
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's a great virtual private love, Mark. If anyone else out there is using a service to protect their bits and they want to share it with us, please email us.
We can never have too much feedback. Reading your feedback means that we have to come up with less content. So if you're a Redditor, you can comment on our shows through our subreddit, /r/Ubuntu podcast.
Laura's far too honest. And now it's time for all your wonderful feedback. We do read it all, but we don't get time to read it all out. That said, what's first up this week?
First of all, thanks to all of you who contacted us asking for our thoughts on the recent news that Ubuntu is dropping Unity and the convergence will once again ship. And we will once again ship with GNOME. If you missed it, we discussed it during the previous episode, Season 10, Episode 7. Codename Black Frail Silver, whatever that means.
Okay. Zach Villas emailed us at show@ubuntupodcast.org.
Greetings, A.M&M. Hope this finds your tickety-boo. For the gentleman who needs to upgrade from 1204, Ansible might be a good solution. Ansible allows you to inventory what you have installed, create templates for config files, or copy config files in a pretty straightforward manner. I'm sure other configuration management tools do this as well. Ansible 2 is pip installable and is based on Python 2, so if it isn't available in a repo or PBA, it's easy to get going. P.S. As an American listener, may I request you use the word router as much as possible. Cheers.
Does he mean router or router?
I'm not sure.
I assume he wants us to say router.
Do you?
Okay.
Okay, then.
It's router.
Okay.
Right.
Do feel free to write in and tell us other amusingly poorly pronounced things.
Andrew Taylor sent us an email.
Long-time listener, first-time emailer. As requested, see if you can use the attached conversation with the AI who shall not be named to increase your download numbers.
What is he talking about?
I have no idea what that means. He winks at the end, so...
I have no idea either. Martin, what is this all about?
Well, if you were listening to the previous episode, you may have heard a clip from this where Andrew successfully got Alexa to play the Ubuntu podcast.
Oh, he also spoke to Alexa a few times like this.
Alexa, what is Ubuntu?
And sometimes she would reply.
Ubuntu, an operating system built around the Linux core.
Oh,
Well, there you go.
excellent.
I get it now.
So there's a couple of things about that clip. When I played that clip earlier, the one where he asks that AI that shall not be named for fear of setting everyone's units going, I played it here through my speakers, and my Echo woke up and immediately did as requested and started playing the Ubuntu podcast. I then sat here for 5 minutes trying to pronounce Ubuntu podcast in every different way I could imagine, and in person I cannot get my Echo to obey me.
I couldn't get it to obey Andy. I played that back here, and mine keeps playing some radio station 91.5 or something. It just refuses to play our podcast.
Every time I play that clip. So what I've now got is I've now got a button on my phone that plays Andy's clip when I want to listen to the Ubuntu podcast on the Echo, because it's the only way I can get it to work.
Alexa as a service.
So thank you, Andrew. Eduardo Sanchez also sent us an email.
Hi, gang. I'm sorry if I missed this somewhere at the beginning of the season. What's up with your show titles? Yeah. Are you using Diceware to generate 3-word clusters? P.S. Stuart Langridge equals best guest host ever. And best podcast ending ever. I don't know what he's talking about with all of that. Explain.
Skynet has become self-aware.
And you haven't missed anything at the beginning of the season. We never explain what the show titles are. That's for you to explore yourself.
Yeah, you can figure that one out. For yourselves. Yeah, and Daniel Llewellyn emailed us.
Can we finally have legal MP3s? So this is with the news that this week the final US patents on MP3 codecs have expired.
So,
does that mean we can now run around with gay abandon making MP3s?
Yes. Well, we could do that in the EU anyway.
Ah, good.
Yeah. So I was asking about this to see, if we should remove the option in the Ubiquity installer for Ubuntu. That bit where it says, do you want to install additional things like the MP3 codecs? And I was told, no, not yet. Because it isn't quite as cut and dry around the world as some of these articles would have you believe. So that feature in Ubiquity is going to remain for at least another 12 months before it's considered for removal.
Well, also, that little tiny innocuous-looking tick box does an awful lot of stuff.
Yeah, it does more than that. Yeah. But maybe just the MP3 bit could go. But no, apparently not quite yet. Chris Guiver commented on Google+.
I love the Beretta 92F, fits my hand perfectly, but didn't expect to see a picture of that handgun with a couple of HP rounds visible related to Ubuntu podcasts, but hey.
Yeah.
Again,
So
I don't know where
same-
this is referring to.
The same AI that's responsible for coming up with the show titles also then does a match for the imagery, so we have no control over this whatsoever.
Well, you say we have no control.
We
have a
just have
tiny bit of
editorial control.
Yes.
Yeah, there were some images that didn't quite make it, and there's a few coming up later in the season that are, well, borderline, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'd blame Samantha, really. She's in
Yes,
charge.
well, the AI is, of course, Samantha. Ash left a comment on our website.
I just wanted to say you guys are doing great. Oh, thank you. I really love the podcast. Oh, thanks again. Wish you did more shows now that a certain Linux podcast will be going away. And then he has a cough and says Laz and then coughs again. Love the recent Ubuntu Mate showcase.
Woohoo.
Keep up the great work. Oh, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Ash. That's
Thanks,
very kind
Ash.
of you to say. We love getting positive feedback. Thank you.
And also, don't think of Linux Action Show as going away. Think of it as going through a bit of a change and some new shows coming up that are going to keep the spirit of LAS going. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing what Joe Ressington's contribution to that lineup is going to be. Oskiro left a comment on our subreddit /r/Ubuntu podcast.
Is there any benefit to installing Mesa on ThinkPad X230 if I'm not a gamer? Well, I responded on the subreddit to say there possibly is, depending on what else you do. So if you're using OpenGL for something like a composited desktop or WebGL or some sort of 3D modeling app like Blender, then it is useful. But if you're only doing 2D stuff, probably not.
Thank you. Daniel66666 left a comment on our website.
I thought Martin was stuck then.
Yeah, almost.
Since we're talking about Ubuntu Mate again and can get Martin's attention here, has the upgrade process from 1610 to 1704 been tested? If Lux has been previously installed? Apparently, this guy lost 15 years of work by simply upgrading, though after a power outage that apparently broke his Lux partition, which obviously I have no idea is true. Is this potential issue anywhere close on the radar before the release on the 13th?
So, fortunately, the poster who allegedly lost 15 years of work then responded about a week later explaining that they were simply using the wrong password and all was well.
Oh my gosh.
Brilliant.
That happens in support all the
So
time.
we can now say it has been tested and it's fine.
Wow.
And create backups, people.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's actually
yes,
the
yes.
takeaway from this. Good point, Emma.
Totally is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before you do an upgrade, back up your stuff.
And back up your Lux unlock key as well.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
it does
we
tell you
should-
to do that. It does, like, smack you in the face and say, oh, no, it doesn't, does it? It's the other one that smacks. No, it does. It does.
Yes.
I'm not lying. It does. It tells you to do that.
Larry P left a comment on our website.
Love the ending.
And if you're wondering what that means, Christopher Goulet tweeted us via @UbuntuPodcast. Robopopey singing Mr. Sandman was side-splitting pinnacle of my day. Choked laughing and bad mood gone.
Aw.
So what is this all about?
No idea.
Go and
Keep
find
listening,
Hey
folks.
Citizen on Twitter and listen carefully. That's
Also-
at HYCTZ.
Visit blamepopey.com. That will explain a lot.
Ah.
Or,
That's all for episode season 10, episode
episode
8.
Oh, yeah, but that's a total setup.
What?
Sorry, Emma.
So am I not going to say the outro right now?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. But if we're not done, then we shouldn't.
we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, we're definitely done.
All right. That's all for for season 10, episode 8. We'll be back next week when we'll have more news, comment, and discussion.
Yay, we made
Well
it.
done.
Oh, thank you for joining us, Emma.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry we screwed with your lines.
Bye.
You're so funny.
Bye.
Bye.
Wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Wild thing, wild thing, I think I love you, but I wanna know for sure. Come on and hold me tight. I love you.